We are live. What is going on, everybody, for episode 45 of the Boxing Fanatico Live show, where we talk about IRL boxing. And now we got to talk about something real important. That's who the smaller guy again? I thought it was Canelo. Let's go ahead and switch over. What is going on, everybody? Of course, we got to start off with Hashim Let's Go Champ. From there, from the legend Hashim 47, we move on to the legend Michael Buffer to start the show. Let's go ahead and start the show. Michael, where you at?
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's start episode 45. Jermell looks way bigger than Canelo. That is my observation of the images that came out of the press conference itself. Now, I did not watch the press conference. I did not have time to watch the press conference. I will go back and watch it. However, we're not even talking about what they said. From the information that I've gotten from the press conference itself, I heard it wasn't eventful. There wasn't too much trash talking going on. It was very serious business stuff, which tends to happen when the fights get big. When they're really, really big fights, I feel like they don't feel the need to sell it. But what if you sell a fight that's already big? Maybe you make it even bigger. Who knows? But anyways, let's go to the chat real quick. I want to know what you guys think, and then we're going to look at some photos from the press conference itself. We got Hashim 47. Hope you're well, Fanatico. Getting more and more excited for this matchup. Looking forward to the All Access episodes. By the way, those All Access episodes are Emmy Award winning. Even the Crawford versus Errol Spence one. Fire. Keep it going, Showtime and PBC and everybody over there. Whoever has their hands in these All Access episodes, they're better, in my opinion, than what the 24/7 episodes were back in the days. Even though they're basically that, All Access is basically a 24/7, which started the genre of doing a promotional documentary series on up-and-coming fights. But All Access, I think, took it to the next level. All right, let's see. Adrian Doan, salute Fanatico. Jermell doesn't look like the smaller guy to me. He doesn't. David Montez, since when did Fanatico have a live show? The funny thing is, Hashim said what I was literally about to say. Episode 45, bro. Come on. What you mean since when? We almost 50 episodes in. You just realized? I know, man. I saw the title like, hold up. Do you think Canelo's game plan with being outside slips and outboxing, or inside slips and body shots? Canelo's plans is going to be to get on the inside and throw some shots to the body. Get in within counter range, right? So he could slip, move his head just millimeters away from the punches, and then get inside to get that counter shot. That's how Canelo fights. So it's going to be interesting. Canelo is aggressive with a responsible aggressive fighter. That's how Canelo fights. He's a responsible, aggressive fighter. Now, one thing that I will say about the size of these guys, right? Let's see if we can switch over to take a look at this real quick. Let's go into picture in picture. Let me just make sure that this pulls up here. All right, cool. So here we have him. I'm not even going to say that Jermell looks taller than Canelo, because he clearly does, and maybe he's wearing boots that are higher and Canelo's wearing flats. Who knows? But just body frame wise, he looks bigger than Canelo in terms of the way his chest, his shoulders, his arms, everything. The only thing that looks bigger on Canelo than Jermell is his head. Like Canelo's head looks, to me, in this right here, it looked bigger than Jermell. But other than that, the dude looks Way bigger than Canelo by every measurement, even by height. Now, this is the thing that I want to tell people. People always say, oh, this is stupid, that's dumb, because the weight this, the weight that. People don't fight, but everyone is different. People don't actually fight in a weight category that should be for them to fight in. Some people go hard on draining their weight as much as they possibly can so that they could have a physical advantage in a weight class. Canelo did it back in the days. And now Canelo is going, I think Canelo is he's going too high, right? He's going too far up. And now he's not necessarily the bigger guy or too big for the weight class. He's probably too comfortable to make the weight. He probably doesn't even think about making weight. He just works on whatever he needs to work on, and that's it. Jermell, in my opinion, a perfect example, even if not using Jermell, is Antonio Margarito and Paul Williams. Both Antonio Margarito and Paul Williams were supposed to be drained 160 fighters. Believe it or not, they were supposed to be drained. There were supposed to be people that forced themselves to make 160, but they would force themselves all the way down to 147. All the way down to 147, they would kill themselves to get to 147. And they were not 147 fighters. They were literally 160 fighters just killing themselves to go to 147. And there's people that are closer to the weight that they fight because they've moved up. For example, Terrence Crawford might be closer to being a 147 fighter than an Errol Spence, for example, because he moved up, which means it's hard. As you move up, you start to cap off, right? You start to cap off. And I think the Canelo capped off at light heavyweight. Even though he wanted to keep on going, I think he capped off at light heavyweight. But when you look at a fighter, like people watch boxing, and to them, boxing is just this black and white. It's just very simplistic. It's like he fought at 154, so he's a 154 guy, and now he's going to 168. He's little. That's it. Like, I don't want to see them together. I don't care what they look like. I don't care who's actually bigger. I don't care who walks around in a bigger weight. I don't care about any of that. I just care about he was at 154, so I don't want to hear it. That's not how boxing works, guys. It just doesn't work like that. I know y'all want it to because it helps for narratives, but it don't work like that. This is pretty much an even fight in terms of size only, and I will say this. Why? Because Jermell looks bigger than Canelo. It's even because Canelo is used to fighting guys that have bigger mass than him. He's used to fighting guys like that. Remember, Jermell and Jermall are genetic twins. But Jermall is fighting at 160 and Jermell at 154. Why? So that they don't fight in the same divisions. But they also want to have that physical advantage. And it's not that they're having a physical advantage over anybody else. It's that everyone else is doing that, so they have to be able to compete. But obviously, you leave room for growth. You leave room to grow into different divisions. That's what Floyd Mayweather did, right? That's why he did so many different divisions. So when you look at this, in my opinion, Jermell is technically bigger in terms of size. But Canelo is used to being at this weight. So that's something that I could definitely give Canelo. He's used to being at this weight. So even if Jermell would end up being bigger, and I actually have a sneaking suspicion that when the night of the fight, not the weigh-in, but the night of the fight, Jermell might actually weigh a little bit more than Canelo when they come to fight. When it comes to fight night, he might weigh a little bit more than Canelo. All right, let's go ahead and switch over.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I still got Michael Buffer here. We love you, Mike. We love you, Mike. Let me go ahead and look at what you guys are saying in the chat right quick. Hold on. High guard, walks Charlo down, feint, slips, counters, calculated aggression. Okay. All right. Hold on. Sorry, seltzer water, man. Makes you burp. Canelo has an Eastern Island head. An Easter Island head? What's an Easter Island head? I don't know what that means. Who you got winning? Anthony Murchison. What's going on, brother? Now that I see them together, it's a tough one. I'm still gonna stick with Canelo right now. So far, I do believe that Canelo has the ability to beat someone like a Jermell Charlo. But Jermell Charlo is no walk in the park, man. As much as people want to say he's a walk in the park, he's not a walk in the park. He's not a walk in the park. The dude is undisputed at 154, even though he's going to lose his WBO belt after the walk-in. He's undisputed at 154. He still collected those belts. So it's not going to be a walk in the park, especially because look at them together and you see the size difference. The size difference is not on Canelo's side. It's on Jermell's side. And I'm sure this is probably going to be the most comfortable camp in terms of weight management. It's going to be comfortable. It's going to be comfortable. He probably walk around 180. Like, you know what I'm saying? He probably walk around 180. 175, 180. Canelo crazy for going to 175. Yeah, it gets to a point where you're going so high, you don't have that physical advantage, and you're going up against people who do have that physical advantage. Though the only exception, I would say, Bivol's a little bit small. He's a little bit small for the light heavyweight division, but most people that fight in a division, they tend to be way bigger than that division. That's how they fill in after the weigh-in and all that stuff, and then they got that competitive edge. Or you just can't, because of the competition, you just can't fight normally at the weight that's the most comfortable for you. You normally can't do that. You can't, because everyone else isn't doing that. So then you're going to end up actually inadvertently fighting bigger guys. As weird and as kooky as that sounds, that's how boxing is. If somebody is comfortable at 180, they'll make 160, 168. That's the weight that they'll fight in. And it's not because, I hate when people say, oh, he a weight bully. Oh, that guy's a weight bully. Everyone does it. The only people that don't do it are the people that are climbing in the divisions because they're so good. They've gained the confidence at the lower divisions. They know their skill. They've matched their skill at the world-class level. So they say, okay, I'm going to go up one more. Is it riskier for me? Am I putting myself at a competitive disadvantage in terms of weight? Sure, but I'm going to go up one more. And then when I dominate there, I'm like, I'm good. I'm going to go up one more. That's what Crawford did. Crawford went up one. He dominated, went up one more, and he dominated again. He going to go up one more. He going to be a 4-division, or he's going to fight for a title in 4 divisions. 3-division champion going for the 4th probably in his next fight. But y'all got to understand that about boxing. It's not like this black and white thing. Oh, he fight at 154, so he little. Because he 154, he 168, he little. That's not how it works, man. That's not how it works. Right, Paul Williams was huge. Paul Williams and Margarito, both of them. Antonio Margarito, Paul Williams, huge. P. Williams versus Margarito, I was at that fight. Those dudes look like heavy, like light heavies. I'm telling you, bro. And you know what weight they fought in? They were fighting at 147. Anybody who've never seen Paul Williams or Antonio Margarito, go check out Paul Williams and Antonio Margarito on YouTube. And look at them compared to the people they were fighting in the division. They look crazy big. People do this all the time, man. People do it all the time. Don't be surprised when Jermell wins. Oh, Kawhi thinks Jermell's going to win the fight. I'm telling, bro. That high guard ain't working. You seen what Bivol did. Yeah, but Bivol and Jermell are 2 different fighters. Bivol and Jermell are two different fighters. Bivol has way better foot movement, though. Yeah. He has better range control. Bivol is one of the least hit fighters in boxing. He's one of the least hit fighters in boxing. He has a lot of control of distance. Jermell, he's good at creating weird angles to get big shots in. He's good at picking his shots and forcing the fight in the center of the ring and all of that stuff. Jermell is good at that stuff, but he could also get caught up in a brawl. Jermell is very susceptible to getting caught up in a brawl because he has that kind of that same thing that Crawford has in terms of that mean streak where it's like, oh, you hit me, I'll hit you, and you could lull me in. You could trick me into a brawl. If you want a brawl, we can have a brawl because I want to show you that I'm more, macho than you are. Terrence Crawford, the same thing. Terrence Crawford, fortunately for Terrence Crawford, he has a lot of tool sets and stuff that has helped him with those situations, and also to be more to have more finesse when things like that go down. But they have that same mentality, that mean streak where they want to go ham on somebody. So Jermell's susceptible to a brawl. Bivol is not susceptible to a brawl. If Bivol don't want to brawl, he ain't going to brawl. That's just like when Canelo was on the ropes and he was like, come on. And Bivol was like, no, you good. No, you good. I'm going to wait till when I want to come inside. Or if you want to come to the center of the ring where I'm at, we could go off right here because this is exactly how, this is my comfort zone right here. So I don't know, man. I still have Canelo winning this fight. However, Jermell looked amazing in his last fight, and Canelo looked lukewarm in his last fight against Ryder. He looked lukewarm against Ryder. Even against Caleb Plant. He beat Caleb Plant, but Caleb Plant was pretty much winning that fight. Billy Joe Saunders was pretty much doing his thing in that fight. But Canelo found, landed the punches that he needed to land when he needed to land them and, knocked them out. But he was having trouble with Caleb Plant. He was having a little bit of trouble with Billy Joe Saunders until he won, obviously. So maybe Canelo's on the downward swing and Jermell's on the upward swing. Although Jermell has somewhat of a hiatus, a boxing hiatus, probably like about a year or something. He might still be able to come in here and do some good work against Canelo Alvarez. We're gonna have to wait and see. Imagine when Jermell get to letting his hands go on Canelo. But Canelo has proven to have probably like one of the craziest chins. The man has only been rocked that I've seen one time ever by Miguel Cotto's brother, Miguel something Cotto. Miguel Cotto's brother. He's the only person I've ever seen rock Canelo. He probably rocked him just because Canelo was so weight drained, really. And Canelo has fought light heavyweights like Kovalev and didn't get rocked. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel that Canelo's chin really holds up. He's built a lot of calluses in his, you know what I'm saying? He's been pro since he was a little kid. Dude's been pro since he was like 15 years old in Mexico. So I think he's really like, his body is equipped. He's been pro. I think, yeah, he's been pro. Yes, he's been pro more in his career than he hasn't been pro in his entire life. That's crazy. Canelo has been pro most of his life. He's been pro most of his life. He's been pro as opposed to not being pro. That's crazy. That's how much boxing this guy has. I can see Canelo versus Charlo looking like Cotto versus Malignaggi. Latter stays competitive entire bout, but is clearly losing. Oh, yeah, I remember that fight. Malignaggi was looking good. He was doing his little things. But the thing with Malignaggi is that he didn't really have a lot of power. He had good technique. He always had good technique. He was from New York. He was from Brooklyn. And he was always, you know what I'm saying? He had that slick style. But Cotto was butchering him with these power shots, butchering him, hitting him blow by blow, like killing him with these power shots. I don't know. I don't know if this will be like that, because I think Jermell Charlo has good power. I don't think Canelo could just sleep on him, you know, throwing power shots, and then he's just going to be eating them or whatever. But I don't know if it's going to be effective enough to bother Canelo. I could be wrong on this prediction, because when I'm thinking about how Canelo has been fighting recently, this could shift. This could be an upset. It is possible. It isn't that this is like a clear cut and dry. People are trying to make it. One thing I don't like is that there's going to be people that's going to try to make it seem like Canelo's taking advantage of Jermell, but then if Jermell wins, they'll just say, oh, you see, Jermell's the best. So I knew he was going to win. But it's like you were saying that Canelo was taking advantage of Jermell. You can't say that Canelo's taking advantage of Jermell and then all of a sudden now he not. Now Jermell proved himself with all this stuff. You can't have it both ways, right? In my opinion, I don't think so much that Jermell is going to, that the style that Jermell is going to bring is going to create enough problems for Canelo. I feel that it won't, from seeing the things that, you know, that has the way that Jermell fights. Although Jermell is technically sound, he's really good, really smart in there. Super intelligent, especially with when he's aggressive. He knows how to be aggressive in an intelligent way. But Canelo knows how to do that too. And it's going to be hard for me to see Jermell giving Canelo enough fits where Canelo can't deal with it. As a matter of fact, I feel like Jermell, because fighters like Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant, they're more technical in the sense, or not more technical, but they're more back foot fighters. They're more back foot fighters where they try to make you come into them. Bivol is kind of like that too, right? He's very technical in a way where he's boxing you and he's kind of making you come to him. It's not so much of a thing where you guys are crashing, right? And Canelo's favorite thing is when he crashes with fighters. Jermell is not a back foot fighter. He's not. He's actually not a back foot fighter. He's an aggressive, come forward fighter. And that plays perfectly to Canelo's strategy in terms of what he wants with his opponents. He wants an opponent that's constantly coming forward. That's what he likes. That's what Canelo likes. In the late rounds, that's when Jermell goes crazy. My man thinks in the late rounds, you don't think he's going to try to go crazy early? Canelo's a hell of a fighter. He's a hell of a fighter. I feel like every boxer says that. He's a hell of a fighter. Evening. Oh, Shane Bosey, what's up? Evening or early morning, shall I say, Fanatico. It's evening over here. It's just turned nighttime. It's still actually a little sun out there, but it's about to turn night here. Sad what happened to Paul. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. He fell off his motorcycle. And I mean, he's lucky. He's lucky. A fall like that Paul Williams had when he fell off his motorcycle normally kills people. I mean, Diego Corrales fell off his motorcycle. He passed away. So for Paul Williams to just come out of there paralyzed from the waist down, I mean, the sad thing is that he always said that he will walk again. He was like, oh, he'll be back in the ring. He promises that he will walk again. And it was always nice to see him say that and see that he had that hope. But he was paralyzed. There was no coming back from that. So he wasn't going to walk again. So it was almost like a thing that was dark, but you were rooting for some sort of a miracle to happen for him, but just never, nothing ever happened. You knew that nothing was ever going to happen because he was paralyzed. Paul Williams was unfortunately paralyzed from the fall. But yeah, he was supposed to fight Sergio Martinez in the third fight. he was paralyzed right before that fight, I believe, because it was, unless I'm mistaken, it was he fought Sergio Martinez the first fight, and I think Sergio Martinez, it was close, but then Paul Williams won, and then they did the rematch. I could be remembering wrong, but I think then they did the rematch, and Sergio Martinez knocked him out cold, and I think it was knockout of the year. And then they were supposed to do the third fight, but that third fight got canceled because he was paralyzed. Canelo's gonna remind folks why he's pound for pound number one. Damn, why he was okay. Wow, I was about to say because he ain't pound for pound number one anymore, but he's gonna remind people why he was. I don't know. He might be Canelo might be on his way out. We will definitely find out in this fight. We're gonna find out in this fight if Canelo is getting too old for the sport. If there's too much wear and tear. Because that's also another thing that could happen. You could get so much wear and tear, even if you're not old. You could have gotten hit so much from so many years that your cognitive abilities start to reduce, your reflexes start to reduce, and you're actually not, you become a little bit of you start becoming a shell of your former self. That might happen with Canelo. Bivol's bigger than Charlo, and I don't see their styles the same. It's a different fight. He could do things that Bivol has success with, but I still say Canelo wins. Yeah. Bivol's definitely bigger than Charlo, right? And he's definitely bigger than Canelo Alvarez, right? I think when Canelo at light heavyweight is just is darn near ridiculous. I think he was also contemplating cruiserweight. After that, he was going crazy. He was going crazy with his whole plight to keep moving up in divisions. He was already too little for light heavyweight, in my opinion. So him fighting Bivol, yeah, sure, he was dealing with the size. That's the thing that was probably in the back of his mind. However, I don't think Bivol really used his size against Canelo. But that is something that is it was the looming dark cloud that Canelo had to deal with during that fight. But I do agree, Jermell doesn't fight anything like Bivol. Jermell is a come-forward fighter. He is not a slick counter puncher. He's an aggressive fighter. And I think that will play into Canelo's hands. Canelo normally who does Canelo have trouble with the most? It's counter punchers, back foot fighters, Floyd Mayweather, Irislandi Laura, right? Even Austin Trout. Go watch that fight. If he didn't knock Austin Trout down, that fight was close to being a draw or an Austin Trout win. Austin Trout even kind of outboxed Canelo Alvarez. Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant. The only reason we're not talking about those guys is because he knocked them out. But if he didn't knock them out, if he wouldn't have knocked them out, they was doing their thing in that fight. That's why the A plus B plus C, A fighter beat B fighter, therefore, and then B fighter beat C fighter, therefore A can beat C. It don't work like that. Because styles is the most important thing. Canelo is better off fighting styles that are aggressive, that are come forward, not back foot fighting. And, so we don't even know if Benavidez could necessarily beat Canelo. Because, sure, he beat Plant, and Plant was doing good against Canelo, but Benavidez is a come-forward fighter. And so is Jermell Charlo. So, what's going to happen with that? How's he going to deal with a come-forward fighter? I think, to me, this is what Canelo likes. He likes come-forward fighters, and he's probably going to take this fight, and he's probably going to win this fight. His footwork is already bad. Imagine the later rounds when Jermell put in that work on him. Yeah, but Jermell doesn't have great footwork either. Jermell doesn't have great footwork. He don't. So the thing with Canelo is the reason that his footwork is not as that good, or not the reason, but what he does to mitigate his bad footwork is he has great counter punching instincts. He has good counter punching tactics. He has good upper body movement. He has good reflexes. And he has a lot of different things that he does to throw you off with his offense when you're on the inside, giving him this significant advantage over a lot of fighters when they're in close. That's why his legs aren't that good, because he doesn't really use his legs to fight. He uses his high guard to get on the inside. Once he gets in the range that he wants to get into, it's a lot of baiting. He starts baiting you, and he starts hitting you with all these confusing punches. He starts hitting you with the same punch, one to the head, one to the body, one to the head, right? And it's the same arm. Or he'll do something where he'll throw his arm up and hit you with the other arm. Or he'll do little weird things like he'll throw this arm, and it all creates like a pivot point for him to turn and hit you with something else. But it's all confusing. The thing that Canelo thrives on is not so much moving around the ring and pot shotting you and moving away. It's getting to where, like, right into where you are. That's why he has a lot of trouble when people do that to him. Because he's trying to get, like, his legs ain't good enough to get to you. But Jermell is not a back foot fighter, so he's not gonna put Canelo in that position. He's not gonna put Canelo in a position where he has to deal with figuring out how to get to him. That's not gonna happen. So if that's not gonna happen, then we're in Canelo world, which is fighting on the inside, which is what he likes. So let's see. I think the biggest question is, how will Charlo react to his power, and if it will make him more cautious? Well, we're going to know right at the start of the first round, because that's going to be the caution round. That's going to be the round where they're feeling each other out. And he's going to look at his tendencies. He's going to be paying attention to all his twitches and everything like that. But what he's also going to be paying attention to is how forceful those punches are, hitting his gloves, hitting his arm, hitting his face when he gets hit, hitting his body. And he's going to register that in his mind. That's usually what makes or breaks a lot of people. That beginning moment where they feel the hit, boom, okay. Even if they felt that they were worried that the person had a lot of power, they were worried that they were going to have to deal with somebody that was strong in the ring, they go in there, they wait, boom, they get hit, and they go, okay, and that tells them. Either they go, boom, oh my God, like what the heck am I going to do? Or they go, boom, oh, that's it? Okay, cool. They become more brave, and they could actually work within the technical, the roadmap that they're setting up to win that fight. They actually have their head on straight a little bit more when they're not in fear of that punch. That's why with Deontay Wilder, a lot of people, everyone is more technically sound than Deontay Wilder, but a lot of their stuff get kind of thrown out because they're so worried about his punch. The moment they get hit with it, they go, oh no, there's no way he hits like that. What am I going to, you're so worried. You don't have the confidence to just be calm, relaxed, and just go through the game plan. You don't have enough confidence to do that because those punches hurt. But we're going to know right away. We're going to know. As soon as he get hit, as soon as Charlo gets hit, that's when we're going to know. I'll know. I'll see it in his face. I could tell. I'll see it in his body language and his face. I'll be like, he doesn't like the punch. He doesn't like how it feels. If he get hit and you can still see there's a relaxedness and then like he starts engaging more and everything, then you'll start noticing, oh, okay, he feels confident. He felt the punch and he feels confident in executing his game plan because he's not worried about the punch as much. Charlo will fight Canelo the way he fought Banana. We'll see. Yeah, I remember that fight when he got rocked. That's been years ago. Yeah. Banana Rosario. Bro, you guys can't ask me about Undisputed. I'm the content manager. I cannot talk about Undisputed on this platform, guys. Please do not ask me those undisputed questions. We talking about Boxing Fanatico Live is for in real life boxing. That's it. Just in real life boxing. That's what Boxing Fanatico Live is about. Anthony Merchant, would you like to see Ward come back and fight anyone? I don't know, man, because Andre Ward, you talking about Andre Ward, right? Andre Ward hasn't fought in so long that it's almost borderline. It's almost borderline gimmicky if he comes back. It's almost borderline gimmick. It's almost like if Floyd was to come back. Nah, it's not that bad, but it's gimmicky. It's gimmicky. We're crossing that line of like it's gonna be a gimmick. He's been so inactive for so long. It's not gonna be good for him if he comes back, in my opinion. I just wish he never would have retired so early. But the heavy hitters that we have now, we didn't have back then, right? We didn't have an Artur Beterbiev as a superstar when Andre Ward was here. It sucks because it's like he missed every single era. Like he missed when it was popping, he was right in the spot where it wasn't popping. And maybe it wasn't popping because of him. Because he went in there, took out Kovalev, and then people were like, oh, chill. And nobody was talking about anybody else. And then, over time, he wasn't the competition. So people looked better. But unfortunately, he missed out. He missed out on the whole Joe Smith Jr., the whole Bivol era, the whole, Artur Beterbiev era. I would love to see him fight Artur Beterbiev or Bivol. To see if Bivol would have been super interesting to me to see who would outsmart who in that type of fight. But we just never got it. We never got that fight. So, and look, Canelo is even up there now. You know what I'm saying? Imagine, Canelo is up there. Andre Ward versus Canelo Alvarez. That would have been an amazing fight, but we just never got it. Charlo is the greatest of all time. What? What do you mean Charlo is the greatest of all time? Jermell Charlo's the greatest of all time? Jermell Charlo is the greatest of the brothers. He ain't the greatest of all time. That's crazy, bro. What are you talking about? That's crazy. He ain't the guy. He ain't the great. He one of the best fighters right now. I have him in my top 10 pound for pound list. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I have him on my top 10 pound for pound list. Even when people don't have him on the list, which I think is disrespectful. But a lot of people try to put people on the list that move up in divisions because to them they feel like, oh, if you move up in divisions, that's the definition of pound for pound. To me, it's just your accomplishments, your skill set. That's what, if you fight high level competition, just because you ain't moving up in weight doesn't change the fact that you're fighting high level competition. So if you fight high level competition, to me, that could give you an ability to be on the pound for pound list. And for Jermell to lose and regain those and redo the fight and get the wins back in spectacular fashion twice, I think he's definitely, pound for pound. And then he's undisputed. Being undisputed in the 4-belt era is not easy. That's 4 belts that you have to collect. And when you collect all 4 belts, there's nobody that's better than you in the entire division. I don't care what nobody says. There's just nobody better than you because you've proved it. You've proved it. So I think Jermell being undisputed, beating the guys he had to beat to become undisputed, I think he's definitely a top 10. Greatest of all time is way too crazy, bro. It's like, what? You're bugging. His resume is not even there yet, bro. It's not even there. Canelo's usually the smaller guy. Yeah, he's always a smaller guy. Because I think Canelo's fighting way outside of his comfort zone. Right? He's fighting way above the weight where I think Canelo's weight, where it's like he's good money, would probably be 160. I think 160 is where Canelo's supposed to be. But then he just kept going. Oh, I'm going to go up 168. I'm going to go up to light heavyweight. I'm just keep going up. And because of that, he doesn't even think about it as weight. He don't care about the weight so much. He just cares about his skill. Like, if I'm bringing the skill that's going to keep me winning these fights, even though these guys are bigger than me. And you can see every time he's fighting somebody, in recent times, they super tall. No, Ward is done. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. One of my favorite fighters of recent years, love Ward. Never found him boring. Oh, no, Ward is one of my favorite fighters. When he was fighting, it was Floyd Mayweather and then Andre Ward. Those were my 2 favorite fighters, Floyd and then Andre Ward. Andre Ward, the whole Super 6 run, incredible. I'll never forget it. I was so over the moon, especially in the final fight when he fought Carl Froch. It was just amazing. The whole Super Six at that time was such a smart idea because it turned Carl Froch into a superstar just because of the Super Six. Just because of the Super Six. Is he the brother that got slapped, or was it the other Charlo? The other Charlo got slapped. It was Jermell Charlo that got slapped. Then his wife got beat up by other brother's wife. That's sad, man. That's sad. That infighting within the family, they got to stick together, man. They're brothers. They got to stick together. 160 for sure is a sweet spot. Yeah, 160. 160 is where he's like right there. You won't see too many guys that are taller than him. You won't see too many people that rehydrate better than him because he rehydrates crazy. This man rehydrates crazy. I wouldn't say Anthony Merchant saying 154. I wouldn't say 154 because he would rehydrate to like 165. No joke. He would rehydrate to like 165 from 154. When he fought Floyd, they fought at a catchweight at 152, I believe, and he rehydrated to like 165 on the night of the fight. My man gained basically 10 pounds overnight. So I think 154 is him killing himself. 154 is like when Antonio Margarito was at 147. And this is my point to a lot of people too when I say this. If Antonio Margarito was to fight somebody at 154 and that person beat him, Antonio Margarito was probably bigger than that guy at 154, even though he came up from 147. So you wouldn't be able to say, like, people would probably say, oh, he beat a smaller guy because they look at it in just the black and white. It's black and white. He was at 147. Now he's fighting a 154 guy. But if he's at 147, he moves up to 154. He could barely make 147. He kills himself for 147, goes to 154, and then rehydrates more than the person he's fighting who's been fighting at 154. He ain't the smaller guy. He just forced himself into a different weight category. So I think 154 is what Canelo's Margarito's 147. That's how I see 154 for Canelo. Can he make it? Sure. Is it like anywhere near where he should be? Probably not. Probably not. But he's about legacy and challenging himself. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing with Canelo Alvarez. He doesn't care about the weight anymore. Right? He's so confident in his skills. He's just going up as high as possible, and to him, it don't matter. He doesn't care about the weight anymore. That's not a big deal to him. What he cares about is just, doing something special, winning in multiple divisions, probably trying to become multiple undisputed. That's probably he's trying to do that. I don't see him being able to pull that off at light heavyweight, to be honest, because for him to pull that off, there's an Artur Beterbiev there. Unless Bivol beats Artur Beterbiev and gets the belts, then we would have to have Canelo versus Bivol part 2. But I don't even know if that will work because Bivol wants to fight for his 168 belts. You see what I mean? Just the fact that Bivol could just be like, I want to do the 168 fight shows you that Bivol's he's not really big. He's not really big like that. People use that as an excuse for Canelo's loss, but he wasn't that big. Thoughts on people calling for Tank to move up and fight Bud? Who's calling for that? I think it's stupid as Tank ain't proven he's the best at his weight. Yeah. First of all, Tank and Bud, like people, this is the thing. People don't really know what's going on in boxing. There's not a lot of people that really understand boxing. They see Tank, they say, okay, Tank beats everybody he fights and he's famous. They look at Crawford, they go, okay, he just beat somebody that I didn't think he was going to beat, and now he's famous, and now I can't think of anybody he could beat. But I don't really follow the sport that much. I do know that this Tank guy that beat Ryan Garcia is really good. And now this Crawford guy is really good because he beat the guy, Errol Spence, that I used to watch. So now they both should fight. Like, that's how people think, because they not understanding boxing. Tank ain't even win the official belts at 135. Devin Haney got all the belts. Tank he's not even part of the conversation to fight for those belts. He's not even part of the conversation. He don't go looking for the belts. He don't go trying to fight the belt. Every fight he set up has nothing to do with world titles. It's just the Tank Davis show, right? It's just come see Tank Davis get another knockout. That's what it is for Tank Davis. It's not so much, actually trying to prove that he's the best. It's just trying to make the most money, which is fine. If that's what he wants to do, then that's what he wants to do. I can't knock him for trying to make the most money. That's the path that he's trying to take. But it will feel empty when it's all said and done that he retires if he doesn't fight for the world titles and he's just fighting for the regular belts, And that's another thing. I hate the regular belt because the regular belt is literally a way to trick the casuals even more. Because they'll say, he's the, WBA champion. And he is the WBA champion. But he's not the super champion. He's just the WBA champion. So it's like, what I'm saying? Imagine a casual looking at that. They're like, what do you mean he doesn't have a belt? I see a belt around his shoulder and he's defending that belt. So he has a belt. They're saying that that's the world title. It's the world title. It's the regular world title. There's a better one. So I hate that even exists because that allows for them to continue to play the casual market. And really, pay-per-view success it lives and dies by the casual market. It doesn't live and die by the boxing fandom, by the actual fans that watch the sport. We're not even important enough because we're always going to watch it. Think about it. If we watch, we're the silent majority. We're the silent minority that they know they don't have to sell to. They don't got to sell us a fight. We're going to watch the fight. They don't got to sell it to us. We watch the regular, regular fight on ESPN for free. They don't got to sell us no pay-per-views. They got to sell the casuals pay-per-views. So for them to sell the casual pay-per-views, they got to finesse the casuals as much as possible. And it's easy casuals are super confused. In the fight with Terrence Crawford, when Terrence Crawford was talking trash to Jermell Charlo, what's this dude? What's the basketball player? He played for Houston. I forgot his name. James Harden, right? James Harden was there, and he's asking Jermell a bunch of questions that this is how, he's basically a small sample size of one of how casual fight, the casual market understands the sport. He's like, oh, you're in his same division? He's like, nah, I'm in a different weight class. Oh, so y'all not in the same weight class? So can y'all fight next? Or how does that work? Is it they don't even understand who's where, what's the weight. They don't know the breakdown. So they even confused on the weight class itself. So then you take that and then give people belts. They're going to see a belt and think they got a belt. That's it. So in my opinion, I think it's ridiculous for Tank to even... Tank needs to be focusing on trying to fight a Shakur. He needs to be focusing on trying to fight a Devin Haney. He needs to be focusing on trying to fight, what happened to the Teofimo Lopez fight? That fight was going to happen. The moment Teofimo Lopez devoured Josh Taylor, they went hush-hush on that fight. That fight was actually being talked about with Floyd Mayweather and everybody. They were like, yo, Teofimo, we want you next. Then he destroys Josh Taylor and is like, yo, don't even talk about that. Let's try to focus over here, see what we could do. And Nue should be coming up. Tank and Nue looks like a good fight. They didn't even want any Teofimo action. And I'm sure they probably looked at Teofimo and they're like, okay, this is a kind of a easy way to get another 140 fight in. But then they saw his performance with Josh Taylor and they decided not to. Because with Tank, It isn't so much, it's about maximizing the amount of money while minimizing the amount of risk. And minimizing risk doesn't mean that Tank is going to lose. Minimizing risk for Tank is he needs to be able to put on a show every time. He needs to be able to get a knockout every time. If he doesn't get a knockout, that will be a failure because that's what makes him popular. That's what makes Tank popular is that he gets the knockout. So you got to put somebody in front of him that could sell a few, could sell some pay-per-views, but he going to get the knockout when it's all said and done. The perfect low-risk, high-reward fight for him was Ryan Garcia. I want to see what he does now. Colbert, I don't think he's going to be it's not going to make that much money if he fights Colbert. But let's see what he does. But yes, I said all that to say this. No, Crawford is way too big for Tank. And on top of that, and I'm not even just talking about size-wise in terms of weight, division and height. Tank is mad little. Tank is mad little. He's short. He's short, right? He's like a Mike Tyson in that down there at 135. Instead of being a heavyweight, he's like a Mike Tyson at 135. So he ain't going to be able to hang with Crawford even in just size alone. But then you couple the fact that Crawford is comfortable at that weight and you uncomfortable at that weight, and oh man, it's just going to be too difficult. It's going to be too difficult. I don't think that that's a realistic thing. And if it does happen, Terrence Crawford would beat Tank because Tank hasn't proven that he's able to hang with these, high, fighters that fight for these world titles at 135. He hasn't proven that. Canelo just said he couldn't make 154. Yeah, I saw a little highlight where they asked Canelo, "Hey, are you gonna, go to 158 or whatever to fight Crawford?" And he said, "Nah, I can't make that weight no more. I can't make that weight." He could come to 168. So Canelo's open to fighting Crawford at 168. But is Crawford open to going all the way up to 168? That seems pretty steep, for Crawford to go up to. I think Crawford, his walking around weight is around 165. So he would actually be above his walking around weight to fight at 168. But I do think that if Crawford does it, that's going to be the best swan song, period. That's the best swan song right there. Crawford going up to 168, becoming undisputed at 168, and then just ending it. Oh, I also heard that Jermell, that Canelo is going to fight Jermell next. If that's the case, it's looking real grim for the Benavidez fight. I hope that that's not the case. I hope that's just cap, because we need him versus Benavidez next in May. Him versus Jermell wouldn't make any sense to me. If he beats Jermell, him versus Jermell makes no sense at all. No sense at all. What would be the point of him? He's fighting the better boxer, the better brother in Jermell, and then he's gonna fight Jermell for what? I truly hope that that's just them leveraging negotiations beforehand, because a fight against Jermell after beating the better of the two brothers, on top of the fact that Jermell is 2 years inactive, right? And then they're twins genetically, so they're basically the same size in terms of what they can get, their size potential or whatever. So it's like, I really don't want to see it. I really don't want to see that. Also said he wouldn't fight Crawford because he would get no credit. Tank would get no credit fighting Crawford? Oh, you said Canelo. Canelo would, yeah. It's kind of like Crawford. Crawford would get no credit for beating Tank, right? He would get no credit for beating Tank. But, I mean, it's a super fight that'll make a lot of money. Maybe you don't fight him just because you're going to get credit. Maybe you just fight him because it's a super fight. Why didn't you try to go professionally? You seem to be someone who really loves the sport of boxing. Yeah, but I started boxing training really old, I would say. I started when I was 16, and I stopped training around 19. So to me, that's a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I did it. I sparred and did all that stuff, but it wasn't It wasn't something where I ever thought, oh, I'm gonna go pro or I'm gonna, become a national champion or anything like that. So to me, it was like, if I didn't start when I was young, because that's the thing with me, I'm so competitive. I already know the limitations I'm going to have by starting this so late. I just did it because I love the sport so much. I was a 16-year-old. I went to the gym that just opened up. It was like 3 blocks from my house. So it was called World Class Boxing Gym in the Bronx. Shout out to World Class Boxing Gym. I don't know if they're still open. I have to check. But in the Bronx, right there on Stratford Avenue, I would go there and it was just fun. It was fun. It was like the thing that I watched as a child. I'm starting to do, learning and everything like that. It was fun sparring and, trying to outsmart people. I loved it. But I already knew that I started this way too late. I started it way too late. So that's the reason why I didn't keep pursuing the sport. I think he's reached his limit. Canelo just isn't strong enough for light heavyweight. Those guys are big boys. Yeah. And he's little. He's a little person, he in height and stature, he's little. Charlo shouldn't fight cruiserweight if he is bigger. Charlo should fight cruiserweight if he's bigger. Nah, cruiserweight's crazy, man. He's not that big. He ain't that big. Ball not big, but he's comfortable at light heavyweight, and he's highly skilled, which is the reason he beat Canelo, not just size. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. What do you think about Tank versus Garcia selling 1.4 million pay-per-views while Spence versus Crawford did 650K? See, that's because of the casual market. I would guarantee you that the majority of boxing fans that watched Spence versus Crawford watched Tank versus Garcia. The only reason that Spence versus Crawford is 650K and Spence versus Garcia is 1.4 million is because of the casual market. The same amount of diehard boxing fans watch Tank versus Garcia and Spence versus Crawford. I would venture a guess that roughly the same amount watch both of those. I noticed it got very little promotion on ESPN. It's not even about the promotion. It's not about the promotion. They were never going to be able to get to 1 million pay-per-views. Not in this market. The reason Tank and Garcia did it is because Tank and Garcia are social media stars. I think Crawford, the fame that Crawford has now may have gotten this close to 1 million. But he got the fame, unfortunately, after the fight. It was after the fight because the way he did it and everything. It's the reason why Tank is famous, because of the way he beats his opponents. So seeing Crawford do that at such a big stage for where he was in his career made him big. Hold on. We got a super chat by Love C. Shorty. Maul need to worry about Plant. My man said Maul need to worry about Plant. What you mean, Maul? Oh, yeah. Wow, that's messed up. Let me put the super chat on here real quick. That's grimy. What's going on, Love T Shorty? Hold on. I don't honestly think Tank will end up fighting Inoue. Yeah, I mean that's another one that seems far-fetched, but I think that for Inoue's legacy, if he was to go up to fight Tank, that would be spectacular. Because I'm always thinking about the boxer's limit, right? The boxer's ultimate moment, right? Because when Crawford just did this suspense, I'm thinking about what's his ultimate moment? What's his thing where he could do it and then he could just ride off into the sunset? And it isn't for Crawford. You would think that it's beating Errol Spence, but then beating Errol Spence is what now put him on the map. And I think he should probably kind of take advantage of that. And end it with something strong. And for me, Crawford, his swan song, which makes sense to me, because when you look around, you're looking for somebody that's more appealing than a Spence fight. That's not easy to do when a Spence fight has been building for years, for 4 or 5 years. The only other person I can think of that's close that would make something significant or worthy of Terrence Crawford's swan song is a Canelo fight. And then when I look at Inoue, I think the same thing. Who's the closest where it would manifest in something that's actually a good riding off into the sunset story. And the only thing I can see is a Tank Davis fight being that fight for Inoue. Everybody else is too far away. Everybody else is too far away. I mean, it could be Shakur, but if you think about it, it wouldn't even make sense for it to be Shakur, because Tank would generate the more views, and it would be the explosive fight that everybody's looking for. While Shakur, he's still building his brand. So I think when it's all said and done, it makes more sense for Inoue to go after a Tank, because he's the closest possible. Because when I think about who he's fighting next, it's like sure I'm gonna watch because I want to see him become undisputed again. But I know that he's gonna beat all these guys down there. I know he's gonna beat all these guys down there. He needs to move up to, unfortunately for him, to 135. He just needs to. Maybe he moves to 130, fights the, Navarrete or something. Maybe that's a big one. That's a good one. Fight a Navarrete, and we'll see. Maybe that's the fight that does well for him. But if he wins that fight, it'll still be like, yeah, whatever. If he wins Tank, it's like, holy smokes, bro, you the man. So I think for him, the swan song is move up to 135 and fight Tank. For Crawford, move up to 168. I know it sounds crazy, but move up to 168 and fight Canelo. All right. So we are 3 minutes past already for the live. So we're going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys for coming out. We had a blast talking about this. This is important because the biggest thing coming out of this pick of Canelo picking Jermell was he's too small, just because he fought at 154. Margarito and Paul Williams fought at 147. Don't mean that they were 147 fighters. They literally could move up to 154 and fight guys that they're bigger than at 154, moving up to 154. So in my opinion, looking at them side by side, it looks like Jermell is bigger. Even size, not just height. He has height, but he also size. He looks bigger than Canelo. So I think this was an important conversation to have, so that we could, it bucks the narrative of what people are saying out there once we saw the press conference and saw them together. All right, you guys already know. Episode 47 will be Friday. Episode 46 will be on Friday, of course, 7 p.m. Eastern time, because we are live every Mondays, every Wednesdays, every Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern time for 1 hour. But we usually spill over a little bit depending on what's going on with the conversation. Sometimes we be having debates. We be going like 20 minutes past 8 o'clock, 30 minutes past 8 o'clock. But we're going to go ahead and end it here. Guys, hit the like if you haven't on the video, and also hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and hit all notifications so you know when you're in the loop when we go live, so you don't miss an episode. We're trying to get to episode 50. We're almost there. We're almost to episode 50, and then we're going to push to episode 100. All right. Until the next one, guys. Peace out. Thank you so much for coming out, and we'll see you on Friday.